You self-manage for a large portion of it. Now you have property managers. Do you own that property management company? Because it seems at your level, with the amount of units you have, bringing that in-house might start making sense. Have you gone down that route before?
So I started with my own property management. That's the way we started but we had smaller units. I had, my own maintenance employees, property manager, assistant property manager. I had, the accountant, project managers, all in-house, my own property management. And what I noticed as I started growing was that we were spending so much time on management with the employees, that it was taking away from being investors, looking at the asset management, making sure what type of assets we're really making sense investing in. Even though I tell everyone, you need to manage your own properties for a period of time, because the heartbeat of being a multifamily or a real estate investor in rental properties, you have to know how to manage, because management is the heartbeat of it. If you don't manage your properties properly, you're not going to succeed. So I definitely believe that you have to manage so that when you do bring in that third party management, you know how to manage them so that they can manage the properties the way you want them managed, not the way that the management property wants to manage them. But if you don't manage that, your own property, how can you tell them how you want it? And having our own property management at this point in time, yeah, it could make sense, but I'm not in the property management business and I don't want to be in it. So at that time, it just doesn't make sense for me or myself or my husband to own a property management, because then we're going to have to gear ourselves and concentrate on running the management company again. And that's not what we're in this for. We're in this to invest in multifamily rental properties, to, have financial freedom and create generational wealth with these properties, not property management. So, but a lot of people do love property management. And if you have that insight, or if you have that passion that you want to own your property management because you do enjoy having a property management alongside your investment, perfect. But for us, it just made no sense because that's not the career we wanted.
Something I noticed is the question people ask is the wrong one, and you made a point that highlights the right question. What I typically hear people say is, do you self-manage or do you hire a property manager? Which sounds innocent enough when you're first asking it. Here's the problem. If you self-manage, you got yourself a job. Well, more of a job. There's always something that you have to do with real estate. It's never completely passive. But yes, it's a job. And in my subjective opinion, it's the worst job of the whole thing. Property management is just like the first thing that you want to get systemized and taken care of. Yeah. I always say it's like the lymph node of real estate. They just have to absorb all of the worst parts of it and make it work. So God bless the good property managers out there.
Yeah. And, I think that a lot of people stop being landlords or purchase properties because they do a bad job in property management, and they get turned off. It makes you hate it. Yeah.
You have to protect your emotions when it comes to this, because if you get a bad experience or you get a bad taste in your mouth, you won't do it, and you'll lose a lot of money just because you let yourself start to hate the job. So, but the other option is I'm going to hire a property manager and they're the experts. I'm going to let them do their job is usually a mistake too.
I think
because
so.
They're looking to do this with as minimal time, effort, and energy as they possibly can, because they run on thin margins. And they're not going to do it well. So what happens is you can lose money from the poor job they're doing. Your vacancies are higher. I just found out I had to replace a few people. I won't go too deep into my own tangent, but I have a property in California that nobody was checking the property manager on. The rent was $1,800. They were collecting. Market rate was $2,600. That's how far it went because nobody was managing the manager, right? And I know this is true. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect about doing it. I have to hire people to manage my investments, and I've had the last couple I've had to fire. So that's just an example of that's $700 a month that I'm losing for years because nobody was looking at property management. And that's an example. The right question, the right way to approach it is what you said. I will learn it, and then I will teach someone else how to do it the way that I want it done. and you end up having leveraged it out. But when you skip that middle step and you just jump to a property manager like, hey, you do this, if they're not really good, which most of them are not really good, you're not going to get a good result. You're going to lose money. And the way you mention it is what I wish every listener would do, is start off doing it, learn what works, give very clear expectations and standards to the company, oversee to make sure that they are doing that, and then you end up getting the best of both worlds. Is that in line with how you've experienced it?
100%, yes. So I actually, when we did give up property management, we interviewed probably about 6 property management companies, third-party management, and we sat with them actually and told them, listen, we have been managing our own property. We're very experienced. That we just don't want to be property managers. But we want to be very involved with you at a high level. We only want to deal with your regionals, and your regionals need to communicate with us on a weekly basis. We want to be very involved. All of the CapEx projects we will be involved with. We will be the ones running those projects. And a lot of companies told us, oh, I'm so sorry, we can't manage that way. And we were like, that's fine. We'll find somebody that will. And luckily enough, we did find that company, and we have been extremely happy with them. We actually, a lot of people don't like, institutions don't like to carry only one property management for all of their properties. They like to spread it around. In our case, we have stuck with 2 property management companies only because they have been working with us extremely well. They do exactly what we communicate with them, and we collaborate. We give them our opinion. They give us theirs. We come to the middle if we need to, and we collaborate with one another. And we have meetings on a weekly basis on one subject, and on the other week we have it on other subjects. So we asset manage the management company, and it's worked out beautiful because we don't have to deal with all the headaches of employees, of all the property management things that, you have to implement and everything else, but we know exactly how our properties are being managed. We are the ones that are making the decisions on when the rents are increasing, how much the rents are going to increase, when we're going to do a CapEx, when we're going to replace air conditionings, window, whatever the case may be, we have to be involved with that. We do not allow the property management to make those decisions. We have to come together. We have a meeting about it, and then we collaborate, and then it gets executed. So that's the best way to do it. But how do you do that if you didn't manage before?
That's exactly right. And additionally, doing it that way will keep you involved. It will reduce your anxiety, but it won't make you hate real estate. So what I typically find is I don't mind making the decision. If it was like, hey, are we going to do A or B? Are we going to replace the air conditioner or not? I'll ask a couple questions. I'll figure out what I want, and I'll make a decision. That is not draining to me. And I think most investors, they actually enjoy that. What is draining is calling 3 different HVAC companies to get quotes on the air conditioner and scheduling with the tenant to make sure that they can actually, that's the part that makes you hate real estate. So if you can make the decision and then leverage off the execution of it, you get sort of the best of both worlds.
Yes, and dealing with the employees. Oh my God,
Yes.
That at that property level, it's difficult too. A lot of people hate that, but yes, exactly what you said is it's the best of both worlds. I love being involved when it comes down to, like what you said, making decisions, knowing what's going on with the property, seeing what's going to move that needle in the property. And, it's fun. It's interesting. You're seeing that you're able to move the needles by making different little moves. And,
Yes.
But you're not there. You don't need to be at the actual property physically or worry about being there every single day. So it's fun. It's actually an enjoyment to manage your management company.